Let's dive right into Iowa's lineup. A lot of you have asked me about this to dive into. We're going through these lineup previews for next season, and Iowa was so exciting to dig into and find out what was going on next year. So let's talk about Iowa. First of all, they finished 4th last year at the national tournament behind Penn State, Ohio State, and Oklahoma State. They were 4th overall. Now, Iowa has had at least 5 All-Americans in the last 6 straight seasons. Pretty strong. And they are returning 7 All-Americans. Now, 6 were placers last year. Okay, so you're like, who's the 7th guy? Who's the 7th guy? I'll get to that. Somebody you may have forgot about, but is a national title contender, trust me. So, like I said, 7 returning All-Americans. This is the most that they've had since 1991-1992 season, when Iowa actually took home the national title. Now, when was Iowa's last national title? Well, it was from 2008 to 2010. They had a 3-year span where they won the 3 straight national titles, okay? Last season, they had a solid year. They lost to Oklahoma State. They didn't wrestle Penn State. They didn't wrestle Ohio State. I'm looking forward to what they do next year. So let's stop stalling about this and get into this and see how much of a chance they have to win a national title. Starting off, 125 pounds. Of course, listen, this spot's going to Spencer Lee. Now, there's a lot of questions about whether Lee will take an Olympic redshirt year. Here's why I think he won't. And this is just my personal opinion, okay? Now, of course, Spencer Lee, 2-time national champ. He's going into his true junior year. 23-3 last year. Big win over Jack Mueller in the finals. He had a rough, I want to say rough year. He had a couple losses, and he came back. He avenged those losses at nationals. But this is why I don't think he'll take an Olympic redshirt year, because right now at 57 kilos, you got Thomas Gilman. I'm not saying Spencer Lee can't beat Gilman or anything like that. I'm just saying he's another Iowa guy at 57 kilos. And the other thing is, Iowa's looking to win a national title next year. I am dead serious. And when I go through this whole lineup, you're going to be on my side when I say Iowa has a big chance. Now, if he does take an Olympic redshirt year, which I don't think is going to happen, you could see backup Aaron Cashman in there, redshirt freshman from Minnesota. Especially, of course, from Pennsylvania. And another PA guy is Austin DeSanto, who is looking to make the lineup again at 133 pounds. The other guy you have there is Jason Renteria, a junior. Now, DeSanto, first-time All-American last year, had a strong season with big wins over Roman Bravo Young, Lee Zach, and national champ Nick Suriano. So, kind of crazy year. Now, Suriano, of course, ended up avenging all of his losses and took the national title. But this isn't about him. This is about DeSanto right now. And he's going to have a strong next season at 141 pounds. Because I think DeSanto is going to make that spot at 133. At 141, we have a loaded weight for the Hawkeyes, okay? Very deep weight. First off, you have Max Murin, sophomore from Pennsylvania. He went 2-2 at nationals last year. Right now he's number 4 in the Big Ten in Flow Wrestling's preseason rankings, behind Nick Lee, Chad Redd. But you also have at this weight Vince Turk, who is a senior, Carter Happel, a junior from Iowa, and then you also have somebody else by the name of Gavin Teasdale. Gavin Teasdale, he said, he's going to Iowa next year, made his transfer decision, and he's walking around at around 145 is what he said. So you could see him drop to 133 and potentially wrestle off DeSanto. He has 4 years of eligibility. His medical redshirt year last year is kind of what that came down to. So, you could see him take that redshirt year, but I think he's going to try to start out here. Now, I think that 41's a better option for him. Just my thoughts. I mean, you could see him go 33, challenge DeSanto, but Teasdale is a 4-time PA state champion, and I think that him and Murin are going to have some wrestle-offs here, and which is a shame because Murin's, he's wrestled well last year. Big win upset over Mike Carr at the national tournament, but I have to give this weight to Teasdale as of right now until we find out a little bit more about what's happening at Iowa. At 149 pounds, you got Pat Lugo, and Iowa has a lot of returners this year, okay? Lugo will be a senior from Florida. He took 8th at Nationals last year, wrestled really well. Right now, he's number 2 in the Big Ten behind Sammy Sasso from Ohio State, who is a freshman. So we'll see what happens there. But at 157 pounds, you got another returner in Caleb Young, another Pennsylvania guy. And Iowa has 5 out of 10 Pennsylvania guys, or 5 of the weights have Pennsylvania guys at their weight. So half the team of Iowa is from PA, which is pretty funny. And Caleb Young's another one. He took 5th at Nationals last year, first-time All-American. Right now, he's ranked number 1 in the Big Ten. Of course, he has Deacon there and Berge, who are going to be wrestling him off, and will be some tough competition. At 65, 2 guys. First of all, you got Alex Marinelli. Coming back, he was a projected winner of the national tournament last year. Of course, tough loss to Mekhi Lewis, who ended up coming kind of out of nowhere, winning the national tournament. Marinelli came into the national tournament undefeated. Big win at Big Tens over Vincenzo Joseph. Right now, he's actually ranked number 1 in the Big Ten over Joseph. And he took 7th at Nationals last year. So it took a little bit of a slide. But if you think that for 1 second he's not a national title contender, then you're crazy. But as another guy at that weight at 165, you have Nelson Brands, who is a redshirt freshman from Iowa. Now, why does Brands sound familiar at Iowa? Maybe because it's Terry Brands' son. Now, he is actually a 3-time Iowa State champ. It was 18-0 his redshirt year. Now, I think that Marinelli is actually going to win this spot out next year in his senior year, in his junior year, sorry. But look out a little bit after that when you have Nelson Brands. Now, you could see him drop or gain a little bit, Brands, but it's going to be tough for him because at the next weight, at 174, you have a guy who was injured last season in Michael Kemmerer. Now, Kemmerer, of course, was a national title contender a few years ago. He took 3rd and 4th he was an All-American, took 3rd and 4th in previous years, and he jumped up from 157 where he was wrestling Jason Nolf and Hidley. Now he's going to be wrestling Mark Hall and Zahid Valencia. I don't know how he's going to do against them just because of the weight jump. And I'm interested to see how he does because, last year we didn't see how he did because he was injured. I want to see how Kemmerer does because he will definitely be finishing top 3 at the national tournament. I don't know if he'll beat the other guys, but you could see him come out of nowhere and beat them. At 184, 2 guys. Abe Assad, who's a true freshman, number 29 recruit in the class of 2019, coming from Illinois. You also have Cash Wilkie, who's a senior, who is the number 3 in the Big Ten Flow's preseason rankings. And also there you have Shakur Rashid, Taylor Vans. Now he was 23-8 last year. I went 2-2 at the national tournament, but could see him do really well next year. I think Assad's going to take that redshirt year, and you have Wilkie coming his senior year and taking that spot at 84. At 197, 2 guys. Zach Glazier, another true freshman, number 84 recruit in the class of 2019. Then you have Jacob Warner, who's a sophomore, returning Iowa wrestler, took 7th at Nationals last year, first-time All-American, I believe, and he is number 2 in the Big Ten. He's number 1, you may know, Colin Moore from Ohio State. Now, I don't know if Warner will beat Moore, but darn if he isn't placing high at Big Tens and Nationals, giving Iowa a very nice leap at 285 pounds, okay, now at heavyweight. And of course, Jacob Warner's that 197 spot, but at 285, again, you got 2 guys. First of all, you have Aaron Costello, who's a sophomore, but then you have a redshirt freshman in Anthony Cassiopi. Cassiopi, you may know a little bit of him from freestyle. He's a really well-rounded freestyle wrestler. Right now, he's ranked number 7 in the Big Ten. Coming in as a freshman, that's solid because we don't really know how he's going to do. He was 20-2 in his redshirt year. two-time state champion. Now, of course, he's going to have guys like Kassar and Stevenson to wrestle off against, but listen, I got to give that spot to Cassiopi, and I think that Iowa has some depth, a very great team coming in, you know, a younger team. Last year they did a younger team, but this year is when they're going to come alive. They will 100% be in that title hunt with Penn State, with Ohio State, with Oklahoma State. They're going to be a force to reckon with. I'm telling you right now, Iowa, possibly 2020 national champions. What do you think? It's going to be a heck of a year for the Hawkeyes.